Okay, welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus Park. First thing I want to do is shout out our sponsors. From the beginning, Defend Hawaii has been my first sponsor. They've been with me from the start. Want to shout them out. If you go to defendhawaii.com, check out what they have for their new summer drops. Also, they have a store in Winter Mall called No One. Go check them out. Go to defendhawaii.com, use promo code ATBPOD upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next, we have IREP Detail Supply, and they have everything you need to detail your car, truck, van, soaps, polishes, waxes. I even got a buffer to buff out my truck. Go check them out. They have a store in Temple Valley Shopping Center. If you go on their website, go to irepdetailsupply.com, promo code ATBPOD upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next, we have Hawaii Candy Factory, and they've been around for a little bit. You can find their stuff everywhere. They come in the cute noms packaging. They have different kind of snacks, s'mores, gummies, gushers, lihimui, all kind of crazy local snacks. You see their bags everywhere. It says noms. Go check them out, Hawaii Candy Factory, promo code ATBPOD upon checkout. You'll receive 10% off your entire purchase order. Last but not least, we have our Medicinal Mushroom Company. They're a locally based medicinal mushroom company here in Hawaii. And right now they have four mushrooms. They have four tinctures extracted from the lion's mane mushroom, the chaga, turkey tail, and red reishi. And if you don't know the properties of those mushrooms, go to their website, medmushroomhigh.com. I take all four every day. I take the first three in the morning for coffee, and I take the red reishi at night. It helps me sleep. I've been sleeping like a champ ever since using it. Go check them out. It's medmushroomhigh.com. If you use promo code ATBPOD upon checkout, all capitals, you'll receive 45% off your first tincture of mushrooms. Go check them out. Aloha. Okay, this week on my show, we have former Miss Teen Hawaii and someone who just ran for Miss Hawaii this past year. Her name is Lei Freitas. I got that right, right?
Yes.
What is your full name?
Leimakamae Freitas.
Okay, good thing I just said Lei. I probably would have messed that up.
No, yeah, everybody calls me Lei for short. So if you know me and you hear Lei, come get this, or Lei, whatever, just know I'm immediately turning around because I know that's me.
Okay, okay. So you won Miss Teen Hawaii. How long ago was that?
I won Miss Hawaii Teen USA back in 2019. I actually have one of my crowning photos right behind me.
Oh,
And it was,
nice.
yeah, it was what got it all started for me in pageantry. Before that, I was just a regular island girl. My grandpa was a cowboy, so we raised pigs and we were on a farm all our life. And I spoke Hawaiian and danced hula, danced Tahitian, but nothing pageantry.
Okay, so you're a straight local girl from Big Island running on the farm, and then all of a sudden you decided you can run for Miss Teen Hawaii.
Yeah, because I also am a singer. So my family is made up of musicians or dancers. One of my cousins you may know as the voice of Moana. Her
Okay.
name's Ali. So her mom and my dad are siblings. So everybody is really good at music. They're very talented. And I knew that I was going to be a musician, a singer, and be on stage. That's what I love to do. And in order to do that, I needed to create opportunities for myself. And through pageantry, that's how I created opportunities outside of pageantry and in my personal goals that I had. And that's why I did it. But I ended up loving it so much that I never wanted to stop.
That's pretty cool. So I guess for Miss Teen Hawaii, you would have to win for Big Island, and then that would enter you in the whole state. Is that how it works?
Yes. So I actually am the first person ever to have won Miss Hawaii Island Teen USA and then Miss Hawaii Island USA.
Oh
And
wow.
therefore, That was my goal when I came back to Hawaii Island, USA prelim, because that's my home. That's where it all started. And they made me who I am. This year that I won a Miss Hawaii Teen USA, I not only was Hawaii Island teen, but the girl that was Hawaii Island teen before me won the state pageant. So it was a back to
Oh,
back for our island. And I thought
oh,
that was
nice.
super cool. Yeah, we never had that before. And I knew that that also sparked just the love for my team at Miss Hawaii Island USA prelim. And that's why I wanted to come back too, because I was hoping, even though I didn't get that accomplishment, I was hoping, and that was my goal, was to come back, be Miss Hawaii Island USA, and win both back to back for Hawaii Island.
Oh, that's cool. Representing your home. I think that's important. I think you probably inspire a lot of younger girls from Kona or Big Island to try it out. You do you get a chance to kind of help promote and get girls involved?
Yes, I have the Regal Academy, which is a modeling and pageantry academy. It was birthed here in Kona. As like I told you before the podcast started, it was a fundraiser at first to help me get to Miss Hawaii USA and compete. You need money to compete in a pageant. And so I thought, why not use my background in pageantry and modeling and be able to help the girls in my hometown with something that we don't have, which is an opportunity for us to teach these girls how to be great models, skilled individuals in their field, and support them in that. I didn't think that the fundraiser was going to become something that the girls would look forward to every single time and want more of. And therefore, me and my team, we all got together and we were like, okay, let's make an Instagram account. What do we call this thing even? We went back and forth on so many names. And it was just because what is the purpose of this? What do we want the outcome to be when people see us? What do you think? And we think Regal. That's what we want. And that's why we have the Regal Academy. And therefore, I have students that are students in my classroom, but also girls that through seeing me compete in pageants and getting first runner up at Miss Hawaii USA, they come to the Regal Academy because, like you said, they want to do that too. And we can do that for them.
Oh, that's super cool. We'll get back to that. I definitely want to kind of talk about your business. But when you were going to Miss Teen Hawaii, was that your first time ever running in a pageant, or you ran at for the Big Island one and then straight into to the state one? Was that your first big pageant, or you went and ran it a few times?
So I actually did run for Miss Hawaii Teen USA before that, the year before that. I
Okay.
was the second place title holder, which is Miss Orchid Owl Teen USA. That was my first pageant, my very first pageant. And I learned a lot that year because that's my very first year. You either learn a lot or you lose that love for pageantry and you leave it completely and never come back to pageantry. And that's all because girls think like, oh, I didn't win in my first year. I need to give up. This is crazy. And so I thought, no, I need to try harder. Clearly, the girl won because she has something that I don't. What is that? Figure it out within myself. And then I went on to compete at Miss Hawaii's teen, which is the Miss America system and their teen
Oh
title
wow.
holder pageant. I got first runner up at that pageant. And from there, that was when I finally thought, okay, should I stop? Because I financially don't think that I can do it. But in my heart, I know I want to do it and I know that I can. So my prelim director at the time, Auntie Lonnie Walters, she told me try one more time because in Hawaii Island USA prelim or in all of the island prelims, if you, I don't know if it's changed since then, but back then, if you got the second place title and you wanted to come back and compete again, you have to get the other title. So of course it'd be
Oh.
easier for me to do better and get the first place title, which is Hawaii Island, or I could just stop and not do it at all. And of course I wanted to keep going. So I went back and did a lot of self-reflection and I came back stronger and harder because I really, really wanted it this time. That feeling of losing was a feeling that I don't like. I don't like failure at all. Instead, I like to work harder and be successful. So I wanted it that bad. I came back and gave it my all on the stage for Hawaii Island and I won that title. And that's where I went on to compete at Miss Hawaii Teen USA. I learned so much between that time as well of winning Hawaii Island and then going to the state pageant. And I had an amazing team behind me. I did so many things differently, and I wouldn't change a thing about it looking back on my teen years, that I finally get to say that I'm the first girl from Kona to have won Miss Hawaii Teen USA, and hopefully I'm not the last.
That's cool. I think definitely you put Big Island on the map. Did you when you competed on Oahu for the state for Miss Teen, how old were you?
I was 17 at the time. Yeah, I
Oh, that's
wasn't an
pretty
adult
intense.
yet. I had to juggle school, high school, my senior year, in fact, and being the state title holder. I had to decide a lot between things that regular teens don't have to decide between.
Oh yeah.
One being winter ball or having to go to an event on Oahu because that's now my home base is Oahu
Mm.
as being the state title holder. And
Yeah.
as knowing that this is a job and I have to complete the job because there's so many other girls that want it in my place, why wouldn't I give it my all and see through this year to its fullest? Be a great representative in that way. I decided to, of course, go and fulfill my duties as Miss Hawaii Teen USA. And that's not the only time. There was so many, but it made me who I am. And of course, I wouldn't change a thing about it because I talk with my high school friends all the time and they're watching me as they're at winter ball. You know what I mean? They're cheering me on. So it's nice to know that I wouldn't change a thing about my experience for sure.
Oh, that's super cool. Was it a lot of obligations? Like, did you have to do a lot to represent your crown?
Yes, there's so much. We actually have a whole contract to sign. Yeah, as Miss Hawaii Island USA and as the state title holder. But again, it's a lot of work. It's so much work. I wouldn't say that it was easy in any way, shape, or form. There was many times as a teenager, again, 17 years old, and competing at Miss Teen USA at 18 years old. I did want to be like the regular kids. I was like, Dad, why can't I go hang out with my friends sometimes? And I thought I wanted to give up at times. It's normal. We're human beings, right?
Yeah.
So but I knew that in the end, it was the right thing to do because now looking back, I've done so much that I've left a legacy. And I walk into a room now where people know already that I was Miss Hawaii Teen USA and they're proud of me because I've made hard decisions for the impact of my community.
That's awesome. And making hard decisions at a young age is admirable.
No.
Definitely a lot of sacrifice, and it's hard when your friends are out having fun and it's like, no, I gotta do certain things for my crown. So as Miss Teen Hawaii, you got to compete on a national competition as well.
Yes, so I competed on the same stage as Miss USA. I competed for Miss Teen USA, which is a teen version of that. And at that time, it was in Reno, Nevada. I also got to see T-Pain on stage while performing at Miss USA. I didn't get to be on the same stage as T-Pain, let me say that, but I wish I did. I did get to meet two Miss Universes, though, Demi Leno Peters, and also my favorite one, Catriona Gray. So I was really, really excited, not even just to be able to maybe win the title of Miss Teen USA, but just to be there and meet those individuals alone, I was totally fangirling.
So
Totally
how
fangirling.
so how was that competition compared to like the state one? I'm sure it's on a much larger scale, but at any point did it get overwhelming?
It was definitely overwhelming, especially being the only person from Hawaii there for a week long of activities amongst girls from different states that you've never been to. I would say that I was such an island girl, like a little Moana, honestly. People don't really believe me, but it was, oh, this is a big secret of mine, so it's gonna come out right now. I did, I didn't really think that the United States, like America, was a big piece of land. I thought a whole bunch of states had beaches, ours was just better. And so Missouri had to tell me, oh, yeah, we have ponds in our backyard. And I was like, well, what about the beaches? That's really cool. Like, what beach do you go to? She's like, no, we have ponds in our backyard. And I was like, oh, you have ponds because you don't have ocean. Because at that time, being 17 and 18, I've never been to the mainland like that at
Oh,
all.
wow.
So I've learned a lot at Miss Teen USA, but the overwhelming part about it wasn't even just that. It was also the fact that there is social media and there's a bunch of pageant fans on social media. And for that whole week, as you're already isolated and alone as a teenager trying to compete for this esteemed title of Miss Teen USA, um, especially when I've never been to a national pageant before and competed like that before, it was a lot because I would see on social media when I would be in the top three. And honestly, every single time, everyone thought I was in the top three. And so that put a lot of pressure on myself because I didn't go with that expectation for myself. I,
Mm.
as a teenager, wanted to just have fun. It wasn't really my ultimate goal was to be cutthroat and win, but at that time I felt like I had no choice because everyone expected me to, and I guess that changed a lot about my mindset, but it
Mm.
made me learn a lot about how badly do you want this, and don't underestimate any of the other girls there because they want it just as bad as you. Do not
Yeah.
cruise.
So so is it like catty or like you said cutthroat when it comes to meeting like the other contestants, or are they welcoming, or is like, oh, how's that girl? Like I gotta beat that girl, or is it cool?
I would say as pageant day gets closer and closer, it does get a little bit hectic, and there's that underlying sense of competition
Yeah.
because these girls worked so hard and everyone spent so much money to be here and their families coming to watch them. That's no, like it's not a surprise. So of course that's what I felt leading up to it, but I met my best friend at Miss Teen USA. Her name's Lily Lloyd, and she's in the mainland. She was Miss Washington Teen USA at the time. She was also
Wow.
the first girl that I met when I got there, and that was before the week started. But me, Georgia, Indiana, Illinois, Washington, Nevada, we were all super close. And we still have a group chat and talk to each other to this day. I actually have to go meet up with Lily this summer sometime. We're still planning it out to just reconnect and see each other again. So hopefully we get to see more girls like that. And that's really
Oh,
what I
wow.
took away from Team USA. Yeah. It's not the
Oh, that's
cutthroat,
cool.
definitely sisterhood.
Oh, that's cool. I always wondered about that, and every time I have a girl on, they kind of say the same thing if they're in pageants. It's competition, but you do have the same goal, and you guys kind of are in the same boat doing the same thing. So I guess you could find form camaraderie in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because we're all similar. We just have a sash and a crown on, and we're a state representative. But at the end of the day, we really are teenagers who, in our regular
Yeah.
lives, are very similar. And that's what we really got to communicate with each other and kind of find that sense of sisterhood around, was more so what do we do outside of this and how we can relate to each other outside of this competition than inside, for sure.
All right on. So
Yeah.
this past maybe like a few months ago, right? You ran for Miss Hawaii this year, right?
Yes.
2024.
Yes, it was in April, so last month.
Oh, okay. So how was that competition in relation to the team competition?
It was very different. I thought that it was gonna be more similar because I did get to spend my year as Miss Hawaii Teen USA alongside Lacey Choi at the time, who was Miss Hawaii USA. We
Okay.
had the same trainings, same interview coachings. We did everything together because we're the teen title holder and the Miss title holder. But now, growing up and being there firsthand competing, I got to see that I have to mature so much more in terms of being even like sexy or calming myself down because I get so excited because I am still super young and there's so
Yeah.
much that I want to share with the world that I was honestly, I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe the youngest person, if not the youngest person and the second youngest person on the stage.
Oh, wow.
And now a world where anyone at any age can compete in this pageant, as well as any
Oh.
gender now because of the rule change. it was very scary for me because that's not what I was used to seeing growing up and being Miss Hawaii Teen USA. That wasn't something that I was used to for sure, but still a great experience.
Oh, so there's no cap on age of how old you can be to run for this.
Yeah, not anymore. This was the first year that you
Okay.
could compete and be of any age.
Oh, okay. So before what was 26, 25,
27. No,
27?
sorry, 20, 28. My bad.
Oh,
28.
28. Okay, okay. One of my friends ran and I went maybe a couple years ago, Stephanie Wang. She she competed. I think she got first runner up. Or it could be a different Miss Hawaii. I'm not sure.
I think I know who you're talking about because I think I
Yeah.
remember meeting her and seeing her on stage.
Yeah. Um who else I know? Julie Chu. Yeah.
Yes, I know Julie. She's a
Oh,
former Miss Hawaii Teen USA as
yeah.
well as a Hawaii USA, and she was one of the girls that crowned me.
Oh, nice. And
Yeah.
shout out to her. She just um helped me pick out my engagement ring from my fiance.
Oh, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
very good at that.
she's a rep for oh, what is their jewelry I forget what jewelry company, but yeah, she helped me pick it
Robert
out.
Palma.
That's the one. No, how I forgot. They took all my money.
He's waiting for me too.
Yeah. So you ran for Miss Hawaii as an adult. How how did you do and what were the big differences um running as an adult versus when you ran for teen?
One, swimsuit, that was a big
Oh,
change
okay.
because even though I am a model, I still am not comfortable with standing on a stage in a bikini in front of all of these people and the world because we're on television. And
Yeah.
so doing this, I felt like I had to give in a little bit to the stereotypical standards of beauty, but
Mhm.
I did not want to. So throughout this process, I struggled a lot mentally when going to the gym and trying to figure out with alongside my personal trainer with what is my goal of being out there in the swimsuit, like my body. Do I want to be toner or do I want to keep the model figure, like a skinnier figure as I have now? It's very hard to be able to think as to what is the idea of perfect when you think about a body. But for me, I wanted to go in happy. If I'm happy with my body and I know that I did my best because I went to the gym every single day, not because I wanted a certain type of body, but because I wanted to be my strongest self, then I knew that that in itself was what's going to label me as ready for Miss Hawaii USA. And another
Hmm.
one would probably be being comfortable with being uncomfortable because I've had to learn a lot throughout this process. I thought that I was more prepared than I really was because I was Miss Hawaii Teen USA. And
Oh,
that's a teen pageant. You would think that it's similar because we spent our year together, like I said, but it's actually not. And there's so many ways that I could just tell you that it's really not. But I know now because that was my first time what I need to do and how I need to better myself to come back. And props to every single Miss Hawaii USA winner that has come out of this pageant because it's definitely not easy. And I want to give another shout out to any former teen title holder that came back and won Miss Hawaii USA as well, because that's a lot of pressure in itself. Because I'm a
yeah.
former teen, so everyone knows who I am already, and they expect me to do good. And therefore, I expect myself to do good. Because of course, you would expect a teen that's went through the same process and been here before. This isn't her first rodeo to either win or place in the top 5. And I know that, I understand that, and that's exactly what I was shooting for. But I just know now that I got a lot of work to do, even though I'm a former teen. So shout out to them for being able to do all of that.
Wow, that's kind of mature on your part to realize that and be able to understand that and know that you have to work a little harder now. It's how close did you get to winning that competition?
So I was first runner up
Oh,
this
wow.
year. Yeah, and it was my first time. Like I said, But also, I'm very happy that Bria won because Bria's been running since I was a teenager. I remember Bria from when I was giving up my title as Miss Hawaii Teen USA, and she's been back to back running for this title because she wants it that bad. For myself, when I gave up my title as Miss Hawaii Teen USA, I didn't do any pageants. No pageants, barely modeling. I just took a break from everything. I just wanted to experience the life that I didn't get to experience while I was a senior in high school. But I wouldn't change a thing about it. And I'm so happy for her because imagine the growth that you have competing back to back 5 years in a row.
Oh,
I think
wow.
that she definitely deserves it. And she inspires me knowing that I'm going to come back and hopefully have that same grit that she did while on stage.
Oh, that's cool. I think that I didn't know like you could continuously run and try to get the crown after multiple times. Is it harder or easier to get the crown like if you didn't like the year prior?
I would say that it should be easier. I've seen times where girls place lower after
Mm.
multiple years of running. I've also seen girls who ran for more than 5 years. They've run for like
Oh, wow.
7 or even when they were 18 to 28, and not win that title. So that's why I'm just so happy for Bria that she finally got that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having to do that and then not getting to the goal. So I really wanted that for her. Honestly, I was competing, but I was also Team Bria at the same time because me, I have a lot of time to be able to grow
Yeah.
like that. But you learn a lot about yourself, and I don't imagine anyone getting worse. You always get better, and that's why,
Yeah.
like I said, I knew because I didn't win the teen pageant my first time. It wasn't the end for me, but the beginning of personal growth to get where I want to be in life. And that's through being able to go back and have sleepless nights while practicing your walk. Like it's just a walk. You wouldn't imagine that there's so much going into a walk. But I've not slept a lot while competing for a team. And I also had to do lots of dieting, even though you look at me and I am skinny, but there's a lot going into body types as well, and fitness and healthy
Yeah.
living, juggling your personal life, but also being in a pageant, trying to find the financials to be in this pageant and get the things that you want, your hair, your makeup, all of these things, and still stand on stage like nothing's wrong. Like everything was so easy, and that's where it all pays off. So it was a lot, physically, emotionally, and mentally, but it definitely means the world when you finally get to that point, even though it took years to get there.
Yeah. So how hard was it to after taking a break to get back into pageant mode?
Hard, I wouldn't say it was that hard. I just wanted to. A lot of people told me to wait because I am so young, or to do a different pageant as a adult competitor to prepare myself and train myself, then come to Miss Hawaii USA. But I just took a moment and I just found myself in a place where I was like, I think I need to go watch this year Miss Hawaii USA. So I came back and I watched that
Mm.
year, and actually Hawaii Island USA both placed, two Miss title holders both placed in the top five that year, the ones that you interviewed last
Yeah.
year. Yeah, I
Mhm.
got to watch them on stage. And so I finally thought then that, okay, maybe I'll look into this more. And I came back home and looked around me and thought, am I in a place personally in my life where I can say that I'm ready to come back to this, because it's a lot on you, like I said. And I thought, okay, well, why not try? Why not start now? Because I don't want to honestly go and do a different pageant knowing that I'm going to be doing it to prepare myself for this pageant. Why
Yeah.
not go straight to this pageant and do it? Okay, it might be a little bit embarrassing if I lose, but I mean, failure is failure. Again, that's a feeling that I don't like. So wouldn't it push me harder to be better and come back and do more? Because this, I honestly believe that Miss Hawaii USA, Miss Hawaii Teen USA, Miss Universe organization in itself is my home. It's what made me a great competitor. And that's why I'm here and I get to say that I'm Leimakamae and it actually means something. Why would I want to leave the house that built me?
Oh, that's a good mindset. Did you like going into that pageant and you got super close, how proud were you to even be that close to winning?
I definitely did want to win, but to be that close to winning was a win for me in
Yeah.
itself because of so many reasons. The reasons that we've talked about, but also my dad was my biggest supporter. I personally wear my heart on my sleeve, and so I did it for him. And it was a lot emotionally for me to know that I got first runner up and he got to see that. I went back to my family, and the first person that I wanted to find was my dad and let him know, I hope you're proud of me. And I'm glad that you get to see me here because this was something that he wanted for me so badly. During that 5 years that I took off of pageantry, there were so many things that I wanted to do that would lead me down a road where I wouldn't be able to come back and do this pageant later, or it would hinder my success if I came back into this pageant later. And he was the one that stopped me and said, no, you gotta come back. You gotta run for Miss Hawaii USA. So you cannot do this. You cannot do that. So because we gotta come back and win the pageant. And so of course, as a dad, you want that for your daughter. You're a pageant dad. Everyone loved him growing up, especially during my years Miss Hawaii Teen USA. I was at Miss Teen USA, and every single morning when I would come down from the elevators, the first thing the chaperone aunties would say was, Hawaii, where's your dad this morning? And I'd be like, I don't know, but I'm here. Like, should we switch places? But it's okay because he's just that guy. And so I'm really happy that he got to be there and see that. And I want him to eventually see me win. And that's what I'm saying, is that motivation to come back, do better, and be better.
That's awesome. As a girl dad, I can relate, and not to pageantry, but in watching your daughters succeed at whatever they do. I think that's a cool bond that you have with him. He must have been super proud.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was. Of course, if I won, he would be super stoked, but he knew where my heart was at. And he told me that that was the best I've ever seen you do. I'm so proud of you for doing that. And for him to know that I did do my best and I left my heart literally on that stage, I poured everything into that competition for the goal of winning, but also for him to see me do that. There's so much growth because not only him, but everybody in the stadium has seen me since I was 17. And for them all to
Yeah.
say, I'm so proud of you, and I've seen you look like a completely different person is enough for me to know that what I'm doing is good. And so I can't stop.
Oh, nice. Does this competition have a talent segment?
No, there is no talent. I wish there was though, but there is no
You'd sing,
talent.
huh?
Yes, I am a singer, so I would love to sing because a lot of people in the USA system don't know that I sing, even though I do have videos on Instagram and I have sang around the world, actually. I also was in contact with Disney at the same time that I entered Miss Hawaii Island USA to be the live action Moana. So
Oh.
I wish I could showcase that more, but again, that's opportunities that I create for myself with the crown
Yeah,
and sash. Yeah,
in
not
the
on the stage.
future, in the future.
Yeah.
Does that competition, I know how a lot of girls they have platforms that they kind of represent. Is that the same with you?
Yeah, I do have a platform. I wouldn't say that that is what is the only thing that I'm about because there's so many things that I'm passionate about. But I do have one big one. I do have one big one that I am remembered for, and that is cultural diversity and and also cultural revitalization as well here in Hawaii, but ultimately across the universe, which is another thing that I want to do is be here with Miss Universe organization because they relate to my platform and what I'm passionate about so much that it makes sense to be here and keep going because I definitely see the end goal for sure.
Oh, and what is your ethnicity?
So I am more than half Hawaiian, and the
Oh,
rest is
wow.
made up of Irish, Portuguese, Chinese, Japanese, um, Native American a little bit. And I think that's it. I'm like a
Oh,
main dish with a lot of sides.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Lao
Yeah.
Lao with all the rest.
Yeah. People ask if I'm Filipino a lot, and I'm not, unfortunately. But I love Filipino food. I love all the foods actually.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if I could be like an adoptee to all the ethnicities that I'm not, then that'd be great. So I could maybe get discounts on my favorite foods. I also get are you Indian a lot?
Mm.
Which I would take as a compliment, honestly, because they're gorgeous. But Latina, I feel like I look like a lot of things except for what I'm not or what I am. Sorry.
Especially when you were in the mainland, they probably had no idea what ethnicity you were.
That's where I was asked. Even though I had the Hawaii sash on, she was like, "Hawaii, are you Indian?" And I was like, "No, sorry."
So I want to know, you're done with the competition, the night is done. What's the first thing you did as soon as it was done?
Okay, the first thing I did wasn't eat because there was the. I wish it was. I totally would have gone straight to Zippy's and got a loco moco, but I had to be right across the street right after the pageant and go to the Miss Hawaii USA after party.
Oh, where
Um,
was that at?
that was at Sky Waikiki, which is right across the street. So we
Oh,
just
okay.
threw everything from the pageant in the rental car, and then we went right over and we celebrated all the success and just putting the pageant together and finally getting to say that the hard part's over and we all get to be friends and relax. Because that's what I really wanted to do. Because again, the team at Hawaii USA is like family to me. So for this period of time that I was a contestant, we had to take a step back from each other of how close we are, just because it's a pageant and they have
Yeah.
roles. And I also am a contestant, not a title holder this time. I have
Yeah.
different obligations and I need to fulfill that and they need to fulfill theirs. So, of course, in the end, I wanted to say, "Hey, I missed you so much. Let's hang out after this or something." But, the stress is over and I'm so happy that I got to do that instead of eat. But of course, I did that the next day.
So what were you craving the most?
A locomoco, that is
Oh,
my
okay.
favorite thing to eat. Yeah, and if you know me, whether it be in modeling, pageantry, at all, you just know that Lei wants a locomoco. At any time of the day, any meal, I do not care where it's from, and I could eat a locomoco all day, all night, every single day, and I really don't diet. Sorry,
Oh.
because I can't live without it.
Oh, that's nice then. It's not even okay. So you weren't craving it too much because you could eat it the whole time.
Well, I was craving it because if you tell me that I can't have it right
Oh, yeah.
now, I'm gonna want it 10 times more.
That makes sense. So
Yeah.
coming from Big Island, you must have a support team that kind of puts together the shows in Big Island and then bring you to Oahu to compete. Who was like in your corner, so to speak, and who was helping you out with um competing in Oahu?
So many different individuals. I could give you a whole list of people. Um, and honestly, I've met so many new individuals that seen something in me, even when I didn't see anything in myself. And that's because one, they already knew who I was, and I did get when I was a teen title holder that, "Oh, I can't wait for you to come back and compete for
Mm.
Miss," or "Yay, it's the time is finally here. Let's get to work. I've been watching you for so long, and I have so many pointers for you." And for me as a person, I will take any advice that I can get. If you would like to play a role in my journey and you have good intentions with being here and being part of this journey, I will I have open arms. I will bring you in with no doubt in my mind and just bring you and be part of this family. And because I want success and if that's what you want for me, why would I say no? So the one big person was definitely Natasha. She's the director of Miss Hawaii Island USA. And she was a cheerleader for me along the way the whole time through. And when I didn't have an outfit, she would pack extra and tell me to just try it on and see how you feel if you want to wear that one instead because I think that color looks great on you or I love this style on you. Or even when I was really scared at the pageant, of course, with just everything getting to me and just expectations, of course, coming back. Um, she was sitting right there and saying, "Don't worry about it. You were fine." But also when I needed someone to be realistic with me and tell me, what can I do better? What did I do wrong? She didn't hesitate to tell me that, because she loved me so much. Not just that I was amazing, but also, "I care about you so much that I want this for you. I'm going to tell you what you need, not what you want to hear." Not just Natasha, but so many other people. Even the girls that I was competing against too, like Jessica, for instance, who's Miss Orchid Isle USA. You would think that we are both Hawaii Island title holders, but we're competing against each other in this pageant. Why would we root for each other, right? Because we want this so
Yeah.
bad. We want to get away from each other, whatever it is. But no, that's not the case at all. She was saying, "Girl, you did so good. I'm rooting for you." And I told her the same thing. I was like, "Jessica, if I don't win this pageant, I want you to." And she said the same thing for me. So to have that sisterhood inside the competition and outside as well, is just means the world to me. So I'm so happy for anyone that placed their hand on me and put in their mana and time and effort into my journey. Even if I got first runner up, just to be there, I'm so grateful for each and every
Oh,
person.
that's awesome. Shout out to Tasha as the pageant director. I know she can be very blunt and yeah, she speaks her mind very well.
Definitely, and I love
Shout out
people
to
like
her.
that. She does not sugarcoat it whatsoever.
Because of your platform, what are some of the negative things you experience throughout this whole process, if there is any?
I wouldn't say there was much negativity. Um, just me, honestly. The only negativity there was myself and
Oh,
making that negativity happen, because I'm saying, "Oh, what if I don't win?" Or, "Oh, I look ugly today, like it's not gonna happen." Or, "My outfit isn't as great as hers." Or, just comparing myself to others, and then going back to my room and having to then think about that and sit on it, and it just sinks in, and I have to feel that for the moment. But that's also because I want it so bad, right? That
yeah.
there's going to be times where I'm confident, but there's also going to be times where I'm really, really doubtful in myself. But it triggers me to work harder again and come back from that. So highs and lows and keeping that throughout the process was a struggle for me. But I never once said this time that I didn't want to be here and I was going to give up. I just kept going and I took it day by day, instead of looking at the whole picture in itself and then having to deal with that feeling and keep it inside my heart, because I did not want that whatsoever.
Oh, that's awesome. Being that your presence is on social media a lot, do you get any like trolls or haters or people that kind of criticize you putting yourself out there?
Yeah, one I do remember is on social media. I don't even know her name or anything. I don't pay attention to that part. I'm not that deep in it, but she said that it's clear that Hawaii Island and Oahu are the top two, but Hawaii Island looks really stiff. And that was for the prelim performance that I had, for the preliminary competition, which
Oh,
was 2 days before the finals night. But in that moment, reading that, I did know that you don't know me, you don't know what I was going through in that moment, because
yeah.
I was really stiff. And that's one of the reasons why I did go back to my room and I sat on that feeling of having doubt in myself, was
Mm.
because I had these armbands on that you guys seen on my gown. But that night there was something wrong with the way that it was hooked on this side of my arm, and it wanted to slide off the whole time
Oh,
that I was up there. So I couldn't move my arm like at all, or else it was going to come down, and I didn't want that at all. So the
yeah.
only the only option I had was to keep my arms on my hips and not move them, and barely even my shoulders or my hips. I needed to stay stiff, because this thing, I didn't want it to come off at all. I didn't even want it to slip down where one is down here and then the other is still up here. But to know that, of course, people are going to have something to say about that without knowing the full story did hit hard.
Oh,
But at the end of the day, I I know myself, and that's all that matters. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That must have been nerve-wracking though.
It definitely was. I was so mad, not at anybody. I was mad at the gown. I was like, why'd you do this to me? But I did figure out a way to keep it on without just the hooks. And like I said, you just got to keep going. You can't give up. So
Yeah.
we took about three, I would say 12 inches long of tape and just put it on top of the armband, and then I got glue, the spray glue. And so I sprayed my arm, and then I had my duct tape, and then I had the hooks. She wasn't going nowhere the next night, but I did put it in the wrong place. So when I had
Oh,
to move it didn't go anywhere. So you gotta give and take.
that's funny. Well, it seemed like at least you had fun and had a good experience.
Yeah, definitely did. And I met so many new friends. So I hope to see them again, whether it be at the pageant or outside, and collaborate with them as well, because they
Yeah.
have so much to offer and they do want to help their community. And so I want to be able to be someone to collaborate with and say, how can I help you get there? Because I want the best for you. Even though we competed against each other in a pageant, if your ultimate goal outside of this is to help others, then I do too. And why not put both brains together and make the best, whether it be a program or a nonprofit or a fashion show that Miss Hawaii USA has ever produced for its contestants.
That's cool. So I know you're from Big Island and you're especially like you said you're raised on a farm. So you have that grit, moke action inside of you. How easy is it to turn it on and off?
It is very easy. It's like I become a whole different person because I am a titta. So right now to you, I'm giving you a little bit of give and take with the titta. I'm definitely more relaxed right now because this is a podcast and not an interview room, or you're
Yeah.
not someone of the pageant world, of course. So I don't have to completely turn it on. So there is those levels to it. But when I'm at home with my family or outside and doing the regular girl things and the titta things. It's all pigeon. It's
Yeah.
all pigeon.
The mocha hunters can come out after.
Yes, yes.
That's good.
But I think that if I did win Miss Hawaii USA, I would bring her out a lot more.
Yeah. That's cool. I wanted to get back to the topic we were kind of touched on about your business, and it it kind of is just starting off. You said you're gonna make a year in September. Um, what basically is your business model and plan, and like where do you want to take it in the future?
So the Regal Academy isn't built to just help girls become what you think is the perfect idea of a model. It's not a Gigi Hadid. It's not a Kendall Jenner body type, skinny girl, all look the same. They're gorgeous, but I think that now in today's society, we've evolved so much more that everybody is beautiful. Everybody and everybody is beautiful, and I have ambassadors in my team. One being Kyla Ray, who is an advocate for all body types because she's a plus size model and she's also a petite model. And that's why I wanted to bring her onto the team, because I want her to be able to speak to those girls and inspire them that come to the Regal Academy, but also make them feel comfortable while being here. um, because people, they find their person, and as a teacher as well, I realize that when a student or a kid or anybody finds a person that they can relate to and they trust, it helps the process become so much easier and you feel comfortable while being there. It feels like home, and that's what the Regal Academy is supposed to be, is home for these girls, whether it be modeling and pageantry, or also if they need something in their personal lives.
Oh
And
wow.
so we also have Dre and Bruston, who are also ambassadors. They live in Oahu and they are models but they're also a couple and they promote LGBTQ community. And that's important as well. I have so many ambassadors, and another one as Maya Kealoha, who's gonna be Lilo in Disney's Lilo and Stitch, to help those
Okay.
little girls as well and let them know that you don't have to see all these big girls all the time and think that they're models. You can start now. You don't have
Yeah.
to wait. Yeah. And honestly, I have so many ambassadors, and I could sit here all day and tell you so much about them, but just know that they represent different pillars in the industry. And it's not just me, it's a group of us. And the ultimate goal is to be able to produce fashion shows, events, train these girls, help these girls, and be able to say that they were birthed here. They started here, they trained here with us, and they're the next generation of Miss Hawaii USA's, Miss Universes, Miss Americas, or just whatever they want to be. And we support them fully and we give them everything. It's a lot of work on our part, but
Yeah.
the end goal is what we see. And I think that it's not just for Hawaii, but this is something that we need all over, whether it be throughout America or the universe.
That's pretty cool. Where do you hold these classes?
I hold them on Oahu, the Big Island. This month will be the first Maui workshop. And
Oh
then
wow.
Kauai, we want to be established on every major island within the first year. That's one of the goals as well. So Oahu, we've been there a couple times now. And Big Island, I think we're on I lost count already. That's how much we've had. Next weekend will be, I think, our sixth one, sixth or
Oh
seventh.
wow.
I don't know. Yeah, it's been a
Wow.
while
So
already, but yeah, we give them workshops and we partner with the biggest Hawaii designers and let them model for that brand, because these girls dreamed of working with these brands. So for us to utilize our networking abilities and the relationships that we've built with these designers over the years, because I personally have had to go through that and make it myself. I didn't have someone like the Regal Academy there for me. I figured everything out on my own. And so I went back to these brands that I've worked with because of my success and said, would you want to partner with us and be our featured designer? Would you want to let these girls be seen in your clothes, in your brand? Give them that exposure and also the exposure of your brand. Help me find those diamonds in the rough that can get out of this island and make it to New York Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, or the cover of Vogue magazine. But she might be here in Kona and you just don't know it. And they say yes. 90% of the time they say yes. And I'm so grateful. Brands that like Hulalea, Simply
oh wow.
Sisters, Lex Breezy,
Oh,
yeah,
I know
Island Swim,
Lex. Yeah.
a whole bunch of designers. We just
Mm.
finished Lahaole as well with Oahu and Big Island. This next one will be Eva Mele Swimwear. And the Maui one will and Oahu will be Eva Mele Swimwear. This one here in Kona will be a pageant boot camp
Oh
workshop.
wow.
So we finally get to touch on that pageant side, because so many of our girls find a love for pageantry through modeling and through seeing
Yeah.
me. So I'm happy to be able to give that to them at the Regal Academy. And I didn't want it to be on just this island. I wanted it to be expanded all over the state. And then that's when Miss Hawaii USA came into play, and utilizing my platform more so to expand it to other, whether it be states or nations.
That's insane. You did all that in less than a year and it's built that big already.
Yes, yes. Not just me, but also with the help of Raymart
Yeah.
Del Rosario. He also just became a pageant director for the Miss Philippines Universe Hawaii.
Oh
So he's going to
wow.
be producing a pageant too, and the Regal Academy gets to be part of that as well. We also get to sponsor other pageants, and that's the cool part too. We plan on sponsoring Hawaii Swim Show this year, and just being able to again support as much as possible with our girls and say, hey, this is goals of yours that you want to do this pageant or you want to do this fashion show, you want us to create a fashion show, let us know what you want. And we're going to use our platforms and our power to give that to you, because you need it and we need it. And as outer island people, again, like we were talking about with being outer island folk, it's that grit and just that want to make opportunities for yourself and the people around you where you didn't get any.
That's insane. That's pretty cool. That's a cool story. And to see how far you grown in not even a year. It's kind of kind of cool to think where you guys gonna be in the next 5 years. You have no cap.
Yeah. We don't.
That's super cool. That's super cool. And I do notice a lot from talking to different girls that are not from Oahu. They have I'm not trying to put Oahu girls down, but I know a lot of outer island girls are very driven, and they believe in themselves a lot, and they're goal orientated and willing to put in the work for it. They're not as entitled.
Yeah. I get along very well with Outer Island girls because of that reason. We
Yeah.
just see our dreams and we're like, it's I can do that. I can do that. You tell me no. It's not easy because we don't get opportunities like of course Oahu does because everything happens there, but we know that we can and we are just as capable as them. And that's why I created the Regal Academy. Yeah, it was for that same reason. I had my girls, my outer island girls in mind when I created it, but I knew that it wasn't even just us. They need it as well, even on the main island, Oahu, but also the other islands as well. But then also I created partnerships with people in Texas, LA, all over the nation. And I just thought, wow, like the Regal Academy could be a saving grace for people, and we never even knew it. So, yeah, Outer Island definitely started this whole thing.
Nice. I'm definitely wanna keep an eye on that and see how far you can take this in the future. That sounds like a cool project.
Yeah, yeah, we'd love to have you if you want to put on heels and
Oh
you
yeah,
want to be a
sure.
one, or if your daughters want to try it out, we'll
Yeah,
take it
maybe
too.
my daughter. That's funny. I think yeah, what you said, like guys can enter Miss Hawaii, right?
No, I mean, I don't know if guys, but
Oh, okay, I get it.
there is male pageants for sure. We also have another ambassador. His name's Diesel Martinez. He's just a guy that you like. Guys don't even think that they can model. You know what I mean? Or be in pageants. They think that it's feminine, not masculine. So that's why we brought Diesel on too as an ambassador, is to show them that the Regal Academy doesn't just make girls. We make anyone. And so I'm grateful for him too because he gets to be that representative of that. He doesn't even know it sometimes, but also he's just getting it really into fitness now with having to be that face for us
Yeah,
and be that person. So we're kind of transitioning him into being the fitness guy too because that matters as well when you do
yeah,
modeling and pageantry.
that's cool. Um, do you have a regular job?
I do. I'm a teacher. I also run
What?
I'm the program director of my family's nonprofit, Veloana. I created an after school program called Kapapoola. I EA for a fifth grade class, and I also am a Hawaiian language teacher for a middle school elective.
So you can speak Hawaiian.
Yeah, so Hawaiian was my first language. I grew up
Wow.
at Kapunanaleo Kona, and then from there I went on to Kekula Hui Kaimalino. And in my 10th grade year, I felt like I there's not much for me to be able to learn here throughout my next 2 years that I just want to start college classes for Hawaiian language already. I want to start my college courses. Not saying like, oh, I'm too good for this place, but saying I'm ready to have that next hard level facing academics when it comes to my language. I really was good at Hawaiian language and I loved it so much that I wanted a challenge. So I
Hmm.
left the school and I graduated from Konawaina High School, which is right up the road, but I still was in the Hawaiian language class. It was much easier for me, but at the same time, I got to do my college courses for Hawaiian language.
Oh
So
wow.
I've been in my language since the day that I was born. Also, even before I started preschool, my parents put words around the house. Even though they can't speak Hawaiian, they knew that that was a priority and that was something they wanted because my dad growing up didn't get to speak his language. My
Yeah.
grandma barely got to speak her language and she wasn't allowed to teach it to him. So when I was born, he made sure that that trauma, that generational trauma, and that no was a yes, and it was a priority for our family and for the continuation of the language in itself.
Wow, that's amazing. How do you have time to do any of this stuff?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't have time, but I make time. I don't really have time for myself, but that's because I love everybody, and this is what I truly, truly am passionate about. It wasn't even just for the pageant. It's because it's what I'm good at, and I love kids. That I'm teaching 24/7. Even in the Regal Academy, I'm just a teacher overall, and that's what I wanted to be since I was in elementary school. Shout out to Kumupiki Hayward. He was the inspirational teacher, my Hawaiian language teacher, that made me realize that I'm so good at this and I'm so good at teaching other people. And I'm a leader and I should take those qualities and I should be a Hawaiian language teacher because I'm so good at it. And I can never see myself without it at all.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm sure you're inspiring. Um, Free time when you have it, what do you do for fun?
Free time when I have it, I gotta think because it's been a while.
Sleep.
Sleep for sure. I love to sleep. But I guess I'm cleaning the house because living life out of a suitcase, going
Oh
back and
yeah.
forth from different islands all the time, it's a mess. It's actually a mess right now. I'm just not letting you see it. But there's still suitcases open from the pageant day that I haven't got to because I'm just so busy. But it's honestly my free time now is just tending to that. But here and there I get to go and see my family, spend time with my dad too. That's a major one. That's really it. There's not much else because there's a lot of planning that goes into the Regal Academy.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
starts way ahead of the workshop. And it's of course my job and Remark's job and the team's job to make sure that every single workshop is quality over quantity.
Oh, that's cool. And do you have a significant other?
I do. He's in the other room. I
Oh,
locked him
okay.
out. But if you put he said he wanted you to put him on this podcast, right? Because and I was like, oh, what are you gonna say? He said he was gonna say that it's not easy to be with the Miss Hawaii and it's not for the weak. And I was
I
like,
would
why? Because you barely made it. He was like, yeah.
I was just good. I was asking because I was gonna shout him out because of that fact. I can imagine it would take a lot of patience and support to have your girlfriend or wife being in these pageants and taking up so much of their time. So shout out to your boyfriend for having your back, and I think that's important.
It is super important. And there's kind of a negative connotation on having boyfriends in pageantry. That's something that all teens especially struggle with.
Hmm.
And as of course Miss too, but it's more accepted in the Miss division because you're so old at that point. But they just view boyfriends or husbands, really a significant other, as a distraction. And
Yeah.
I don't believe that that's the case because it depends on the person. If
Yeah.
he's someone who truly wants this for you, and he will make your goals his goals as well. He knows how to be that sense of support and that added support instead of someone who's going to hinder your success. There is people like that, but you as an individual and as a title holder need to make that decision for yourself, not let other people do that in your place.
Yeah. Shout out to him. That takes a strong man, and sounds like you got one. You just got to have his back when he starts trying to reach his goals.
Yes, yes. He just needs to set some because I don't know what they are right now. Right now he's playing Rocket League.
All right on. Before we go, I would want to ask you for girls that are young looking up to you, what would be that advice and what would you tell them if they wanted to follow in your footsteps?
I would tell them to go for it and don't wait. Don't hesitate. So many girls wait for so long because they just sit on contemplating if this is a good thing for me. Am I going to win? That's the main one that I get asked. Do you think I can win? Because I want to win. If I do this, I need to win. And I'm like, you can't think like that. You need to think, how can I better myself? because it's a process. I'm not going to look at you and be like, yes, you are going to win. You are the winner. You are the next Miss Hawaii Teen USA. You're the next Miss Hawaii Island USA or anything. I don't know myself. I didn't know for my own personal journey. How would you
Yeah.
know? But you're not going to find out unless you take that leap of faith and that risk and you go for it. But I would say that that's the biggest thing. There's no step like the first step, and the first step's always the hardest. But go for it, take it, and we'll see where you go from there. The rest is history.
I like that line. There's no step like the first step. I'm gonna use that for sure. I like that. Well,
Whether people take that and then think, okay, I'm not gonna make any step. I'm not gonna step at all.
I'm gonna step back.
Yeah, step back.
Well, I think you are inspiration. I think you are a great person for younger girls to look up to. Just with what you're doing um in the whole pageantry atmosphere, but also your mindset and making your business and creating goals and kind of being the person you want to be. I think girls need to see women doing that, and inspiring younger generation is what everything's all about, and that's what Aloha is. I think you're in the right track for that.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't doubt that the Regal Academy is going to be successful, that me choosing to be a teacher for my career path was a bad idea at all, or me even getting first runner up in the pageant, or waiting till this time, or whether it be too early or too late for me to run for Miss Hawaii USA, whatever it is. I didn't think anything was a bad idea. I see the end goal, like I keep looking at the end goal, and that's what I take every single day by day, trying to get there, make the best decisions along the way.
That's awesome. Before we go, social media wise, where can people find you and also your business?
My personal Instagram is at Leimakamae _, and my Miss Hawaii Island USA Instagram is my pageant title holder Instagram for the year until I get to give up my title. Or you could find me as well on the Regal Academy page, the.Regal Academy on Instagram. I don't really use Facebook. People really they get surprised about that. I don't really know how to use Facebook, but I will. And when that time comes, I'll let you know so you can shout that one out
Yeah,
too.
definitely. And for us, as always, it's Above the Bridge Podcast on Instagram. Our YouTube is Above the Bridge Podcast. Our website is atbpod.com, and my personal Instagram is Thaddy Daddy High. Well, in the future, two things I would want to kind of have you and your business partner on so we can talk about that a little more, because I think people need to find out about that, and I think you can get people to check you out and inspire them in that way. But when you
Mhm.
win Miss Hawaii, you got to come back on.
Yes, I will.
Okay,
I
I got
definitely
you
will.
saying it then.
Yes.
All right. Well, we've been going for about an hour, and I know how busy you are, so I appreciate you taking the time out to come on. Um I think that's about it. That's all the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. Shout out to Natasha for making the connection. She's the one that kind of put me in contact with you, so shout her out. And she's doing such an amazing job with all the girls coming out of Big Island. She was a pageant person herself. She was Miss Maui, I think, at some point. So she's a
Mhm.
strong individual, and I see her strength in all her girls that she's bringing over to Oahu. So that's pretty cool. Um, anything else? Anybody else you want to shout out?
Shout out to my dad
Yeah.
for being able to support me so that I could even be here on this podcast today as Miss Hawaii Island USA, as first runner up to Miss Hawaii USA, former teen, anything. That was all you.
That's awesome. I hope my daughter
Yeah.
shouts me out when she does some cool stuff.
We'll make sure of it because you know why? She's gonna go to the Regal Academy. So
Yeah, I think she could. Or
we'll
she's
tell her
like,
too.
yeah, she
But
when
yeah,
she was
thank you for
when
having
she was
me.
yeah, when she was little, she was a model kind of. She was signed to what is it, Wilhelmina or something like that.
Wilhelmina
Some
model.
That's the one. Yeah. She's in like Sears ads and all that, but now she's just a little volleyball player now. She's an athlete.
Volleyball. There's a lot of girls
Yeah.
that do pageantry that come from volleyball, myself
Okay.
included.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, on. Well, thank you again for coming on. Shakas for the cameras.
Thank you for
All right.
having me.
Anytime. We're out. Shout out to the Artist Group Network. Aloha.